So today we're going to do something slightly unusual, and we're going to look at this, which is an old scientific pocket calculator. This was introduced in 1975 and discontinued 1976, so just after a year. It's made by Compex, which is a Taiwanese firm, as far as I can make it out, but it was actually produced by a different company and then just rebadged by them. Or at least that's what I could find on them on the internet. And I like the color coding on this a lot. So you've got the basic operations basically here in blue. You've got the more complex scientific calculations here, and then you also have this up here in grey. So it looks very neat. I could have done without the imperial to metric conversion thing, but yeah. This doesn't look like it was very expensive back in the day, I don't think. And what leads me to this is this tacky conversion table here. And just generally the look and feel, although it's quite robust actually. It has an AC socket on it, so you could put 4.5 volts, 80 milliamps AC on there, and that is obviously as high as that because the processor will be a little inefficient, but the majority of the current will go into the VFD. Which is the main reason I bought this, because it has a really bright VFD on there. Also, the pictures on the internet show it with a very bright VFD on it. So the issue with this is it doesn't work. The first thing I did to fix this is I opened it up and I changed all the capacitors. But I think we should open it up again and have a look at it, because that obviously didn't fix it. I haven't actually tried the AC socket, and that's what I'll probably do next. If we can't find anything obvious. So this opens up by removing this screw, and then you basically have to poke your fingers in here and undo all the clips, which you'll probably want to avoid doing too often because the plastic is really brittle, and you'd probably end up breaking them. The little plastic tabs, and there's not really a chance this will hold together well. I think I might actually have broken one there. Oh yeah, there's a plastic tab coming out. Okay, it'll probably still be fine. So if we look at this, it's got a Futaba VFD, and fairly nice and big, and it's all single chip construction. And this one here is the A5501CB by Rockwell. And yeah, I changed these capacitors. It had these leaky Japanese style capacitors in here. And these the capacitors of that vintage of from the 70s, they're usually bad. So you can see the only other thing that's on here besides resistors is this little boost converter here. It's a 2-transistor thing. It probably produces the 20 odd volts that you need to drive the VFD. And I'm not going to take this apart much further because all the keys will fall out. And the connection to the keyboard down here is just with this. It's all looped over. That they can do single-sided PCBs instead of having a double-sided one. And yeah, I think that's probably the main reason. Yeah, maybe not. Because this is all through-hole, you probably couldn't fit all the keys on there. So, but okay. So this didn't work with the battery pack, which, if you look at this, it clips in here, like so. I've got some batteries in there. And then it snaps in here with this spring, and then the contacts poke through here, and these in turn go down and make contact with this. And if I look at my batteries here, I think this should be the negative side. Yep, that's the negative side. So what I should do next is, so I'll fill that battery pack back in there, and then we'll try and power this up. I've got this set to 4.5 volts DC, and we'll just clip onto here and clip onto here, and then switch it on. Oh yeah, this. So I think the problem was just that I didn't have very good contact to these. Definitely did something there. Well, maybe the IC is broken, and then there's basically no hope of replacing that at all. So let's see. Yeah, that's a 0. 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3. That seems to work. Okay, and the interesting thing is you can actually I can't see this on I actually can see this on the display. There's a certain amount of ghosting on here. Was it supposed to do that? It's a little odd that it lights up the number you press over there shortly. That's a little odd. Well, okay. But 2 times 4 is 8. Yeah, that works. So, okay, we just have to figure out what's wrong with the battery connection, I suppose. There's a nice detail here. They labeled out all the pins for the VFD. The filament connections and all of that. That's pretty good. I like that. So these battery terminals, that's just the multimeter shutting off. They don't really look all that corroded to me. Oh, there's a little corrosion on there. So use a little brute force and just file this terminal here down a little bit. If you do this, it's not the worst idea to, if you can, put just some solder on there to protect it from further corrosion, because you're basically filing away the tin plating and then down to the metal. So let's see if just press this on here like this, and then awkwardly try to, no, it's not going to work. I don't really want to close this up again, because I'll probably break off more tabs as I do so. So I think what I'll do is I'll bend these up slightly, because maybe these are like little springs. Maybe they just become a little low over the years of repeated battery pack insertion. So just try and get that closed again. I'll do that off camera. So I've got the battery pack back in and the whole thing back together, but the bad news is this only works if I press on the battery pack back here. So this is still not well. Maybe I'll try and, because I don't want to open it up again, I'll just try pulling these up through here, because I don't think it's an issue with corrosion really. It's just that the battery pack over time has become a little loose. Now maybe it's an issue with that spring. So if you can see, the battery pack is not really a tight fit anymore. Oh well. And you can make it disconnect if you shake it. Look. It's all that funny business. So, if you place it on a desk and don't shake it around while it's on. No. No, this is not reliable enough. Maybe I can pull it up a little further. But I think we're nearing the maximum that I can pull these up. So, to show you that, just basically going in here with a pair of tweezers and just bending this up here. It's probably not ideal. But I don't think I'm destroying a museum piece here. This is well used. This is a well used calculator, and it's also one of the cheaper makes, I think. It's not really all that collectible, I don't think. So let's see. Yeah, that's rock solid. Yeah, great. So, the only thing that was really wrong with this was the battery connection. Don't know if I should have changed the capacitors or not, but if it was really necessary, I mean, I definitely should have changed it. You should always change capacitors of this vintage. Capacitors are cheap enough these days that you can definitely get away with them, because if they don't fail on you now, they'll probably fail in, what, 5 years? So just change them while you're in there. Except if it's something that is specifically tuned to something. Like in radios, you often have capacitors that you should not change, or you have to realign the whole thing. Yeah. Especially if it's disc or ceramic or something like that. So I think the last thing I want to do is, let's see, clean this off and see if all the grime is back there between this plastic piece and the VFD, or if it's just on the surface, because it's a little dirty. So I'll just do that. So the gunk is basically under there and I can't get to it from the outside, so what I'm just going to do is take an alcohol swab and then just carefully lift out this board like this, and then just go under there. Carefully clean it. And while I have this open for the third time, can have a little fun with it and look at how the boost converter works. So you can see this is fairly dirty actually. I don't know how dirt would get in there. I mean, it's pretty well sealed. Especially because it doesn't look that dirty here. And it's just basically under the VFD. That's the only place where I'd actually mind this being dirty. So yeah, it's much clearer now. You can't see it on camera, but to me it's much clearer. Okay, so let's see, hook this up to the negative. This up to the positive, and I'll turn it on. Why doesn't that do anything? No. Yeah. So these are a little damaged after all. Doesn't make quite good contact. So let's just see. And I'll get the multimeter in here. And we'll do some measurements on this. And I think the first thing I want to measure is if the ground in VDD here is the actual boosted up voltage, or if it's the battery voltage. So it will give us a convenient point to actually probe this. Oh yeah, it's minus 15, so this is after the boost converter. Oh, that's nice. That's fairly easy accessible. Yeah, so it's minus 15 there. And that makes sense for a VFD because you need a negative voltage to drive it. So, oops, bumped some stuff here. How would we go about probing this? I can't really see a point where I can get in there easily. No, I think that's where my curiosity ends. So I'm going to reassemble it and then use it every now and then.